Hello, team, back again. I've got Sean Connor with me today. He's been on River City, he's been in Still Game, he's been around the circuit as well with theatre productions. I once saw him in Moorcroft at the Tron Theatre, and that's when I fell in love with his work. He's a fantastic actor. He's going to be talking about, what it means to sort of be a working actor in today's day and age, and also talking about River City. It has been cancelled by BBC Scotland, so what impact will that have? We're going to talk about all that and more, so without further ado, here's the interview. Sean, thanks very much for coming on today. I need to ask because follow you on Instagram,
Yeah.
and more than any sort of actor that I see, you're constantly like making sure to seek out movies to go and watch that are out of the cinema right now. So,
Yes.
what's the most recent thing you've saw?
Oh, the most recent film I saw, I've actually not been as recently as because I've got an Odin card, so like
Yeah,
I try and get as much use of it, and also just going to the cinema is just genuinely probably one of my favorite pastimes
yeah,
of all time. Like if I ever need to take my head away for anything, or like I'd love going during the day, go in the middle of the afternoon, there's nobody there. If there's
yeah.
nobody else in the cinema, it's the best feeling in the world. So no, the last thing that I had seen was 28 years later,
Nice.
and I seen it for the second time because my
Oh
dad.
wow.
Yeah, my dad really wanted to see it, and I don't think my mum wanted to go with him. So, but I loved it that much the first time I seen it, and I was like, I'll definitely go and see that again. And I actually enjoyed it more the second time. But
Yeah.
interesting enough.
It's one of those movies, especially the ending has been talked about a lot by people. It's a
Yes.
controversial ending,
Yeah.
bold ending. So
Yeah. Do you know, I felt so daft because I never even got it. I never even clicked the first
yeah,
time. Because like when it happened, I was like, I didn't like the way I wasn't really a fan of the just the tone shift of it.
yeah,
The way it's just like that whole bit of that movie leading up to that point was like really somber and really touching moments with Jodie Comer and all that kind of stuff, which I think
mhm,
was the movie's biggest strength, given the fact that it was just totally batshit mental. But had that kind of really nice kind of core and really nice heart to it. And then at the end, it just totally shifted tone to this pure bloodbath again. But I never even clicked that that was what they were meant to look like.
yeah. I
Never
know,
even
I know.
clicked until I
Well,
went up the road. Then I was like watching TikToks and stuff as you do, and I was like, "Fuck off! Surely not."
I
And I
know.
was like, surely not. So
I
like,
was, I was sitting there just like the biggest grin in my face because I was like, I don't know if I like this or not,
no.
but fair enough that they did it. Like, that
Oh
was
yeah,
basically my approach
it's
to it.
definitely bold. Like I said, the first time I was like, oh no. Like after I realized what it was, I went, oh no, I really don't think that's a good idea. And then on the second view, and I was like, do you know what? There's something about, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that it's such a kind of ballsy move and quite bold and quite out there. But I was like, there's something about it that actually I think could work if done right. But I also think it's really interesting that it's not Danny Boyle that's doing the second one.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially because it looks like it's going to deal with sort of Britain's cultural baggage in a way, and
Yeah,
it's an American coming in to do it. So we'll just need to see, how that all works out. But
yeah, definitely.
there's a reason I wanted to start with that because you've talked about it being a hobbit pastime, a way to sort of chill out, and we're very much in sync on that.
Mhm.
But do you think it's important for actors to be watching the stuff that's coming out now to constantly sort of keep themselves almost like watching tape, like a sports person would watch tape? Like, is that sort of why you do it?
100%, 100%. I think it's probably, I mean, even not to do with just going to the cinema, even just watching something in the house or going to the theater, I think is probably the biggest and most important, in my opinion anyway, the most important form of research that an actor can do, because styles of performances are always changing. The movies that are being made these days, if it's not a remake, which a lot of them are, well, even at that, actually, even remakes, because they're done in a different way. If they're if they're genuinely there to just add something else to what the source material is,
Yeah.
it's all being done very differently, and acting's become very different. I think it's a very different thing now when I see certain TV shows compared to
Mm.
like a lot of people. The Sopranos is so up there for me, and
Yeah.
this kind of style of acting that would be in something like that these days, something kind of mob style. It's very very different. I never got to watch it, but I seen clips and stuff of Mobland,
Yeah.
and I was just and it just felt very less grounded, which I
Hmm.
think, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that comes from the whole culture of streaming and everybody just wanting something that's going to catch their attention really quickly, which oftentimes is explosions and people getting their head blown off and like all these very things. And I think the style of acting lends itself to that quite a bit.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think it's important to one keep up to date with what like the big directors are doing. If that's your ambition to at one point work with these people, then I think, yeah, by all means, you need to keep up to date with what it is that they're doing and the type of work that they're creating. And also just it's like I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you can really. Like, I mean, for me, that's it's still one of the biggest joys ever is watching like a good film and watching a good performance.
Mhm.
And I think if you've got that as someone who's aspiring to be an actor and you have that sort of passion for just watching other people do what it is that you love to do,
Yeah,
then I think that's definitely a positive thing.
totally. One sec, Sean. First, a call came through there when you were talking, and
No, you're grand.
all of a sudden you were sideways on my screen. I was like,
Yeah,
I
happened
was
to
like,
mine
oh,
as well. I was like,
it's
okay.
still, I said, oh, stop that.
No.
But yeah, you're 100% right. But you're talking about what you're seeing now.
Mm.
When we go back to the beginning, because obviously you've sort of been creative for a long time. You started your acting career sort of pretty young, sort of
Yeah.
doing stuff. But what were the initial influences for you that made you think, I would quite like to explore this?
Do you know the first movie I ever remember being taken to see? My dad took me to see the first ever Spider-Man.
Ah, Tobey Maguire.
So
Yeah.
that's the first one I remember like going. Don't get me wrong, I don't remember like I'm not sitting here and pretending being like, oh yeah, I was pure. It's totally into the juxtaposition of how they done this and this and that. I was tiny, but like I remember going and I remember the Green Goblin and I remember like just seeing that on a big screen. And I think that was the first moment to me where I went, this is this is really cool. Like this
Yeah.
is something that I've not thought of yet or not really explored yet. I was in reacting classes and stuff like that, but you don't really explore cinema in that way because you can't because you're too young and you're kind of there to have fun and all these different things. Um,
Mhm.
but that was the first moment where I think that kind of initial light bulb went in my head where I thought I want to be up there one day. And then a couple of years later, a good few years later after that, the movie that made me go, that's what I want to do, is Inglorious Bastards.
Nice. Okay. Lovely
That's
movie.
still to this day my favorite movie of all time. And I remember my mum and dad had been to see it, and I was too young to go and see it. And my dad wouldn't shut up about how good it was. And this was when my interest was just starting to really kind of ramp up in acting and performing. And I think my dad had showed me a couple of Tarantino. I'd maybe seen Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Again, didn't fully understand it, but I knew that this is fucking cool. And so I'd been waiting for this movie to come out, and then obviously I couldn't get to go see it. And then I remember I was actually visiting family over in Ireland, and my mum and aunt and my dad and my aunt were going to the pub, and I couldn't be in the pub past a certain time because of my age, and I just begged and begged. I think my auntie had the DVD, and I begged them to let me watch it while they were away.
Nice.
And I sat and watched it, and I'll never forget that. Like that is the most I've ever been glued to a screen in
Yeah.
my life. I mean, and I think that's easy for a film like that. Like that opening scene is one it's still to this day one of the most tense things I think in cinema history. So
Yeah.
it grabbed me really quickly, and then I just loved the arrogance of it, almost like the arrogance of the style of filmmaking, and also the fact that it was a real story, but also the rules could just be bent, and
Yeah.
we just kill Hitler at the end, and it's like this is because up until that point, maybe just me being like quite naive and optimistic, I was like, this could actually probably this. I wonder if this actually happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the
Exactly. Yeah.
premise of it is totally positive, and then it just goes down like a total mental rabbit hole, which again just think it serves the movie well, and I think that's why he's such a genius. But that was genuinely the first one that I remember going, fucking yes, this is it.
I
That's
love that. I love that. You talk about the family influence there, like your dad taking you to Spider-Man, like you're
Mm.
you're taking your auntie's Inglorious Bastards DVD. Like, what was the sort of family influence like in terms of your acting career? Were they supportive of it?
Yeah, definitely. I think they tried everything else first. I think
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think my dad wanted me to play football, and then I remember like I was terrible. I'm obviously a massive football fan, but I just give two. I've not got a left foot, so I couldn't play football. I was never good at football. And then they tried basketball, all these different things. I think even tried taekwondo at one point. It
Oh
was a
wow.
bit bizarre, but it wasn't for me. And then I think it was my mum initially that was like, "What about this wee theatre group?" And I think at the time, I think my dad was kind of like, "Oh no, you just put him back out there with a boy, he'll get better." Um, and then it just weirdly, it was just the first thing that I just kind of took to. And I was
Yeah.
really, really young. I think I must have been 7 or something like that at the time.
Mhm.
And I just enjoyed it. And then obviously, like I say, when you're that age, you don't really think about it that much. It was, but I think because I'd enjoyed it and it was one of the first things I'd enjoyed in a while, that it kind of they that I stuck with it. And then after the years, it became a regular thing. And then obviously, as you grow up, you start to develop more thoughts about it and kind of what you want to do. And I just realized that this is something that, well, it's one thing at the very least that I know that I'm good at,
Mm.
and I know that I really enjoy, and I know that I mean I wasn't short of confidence, but it definitely built a wee bit more of that. And yeah, it was just it was like a duck to water, man. It was just like something. It just felt nice. It just felt natural. Do you know what I mean? It felt natural to keep this going. And then obviously as your passion and stuff starts to ramp up, then it became a bit of an obsession, which it still is. So yeah, I would say so. I'm very, very lucky that they put me into that class that one day, because if they never, then my life could have been very, very different. You never know.
Nice. And you went in the class, and I know that you went and studied like it later on. Like,
Yeah.
what was the biggest lesson in those early years? Like when you're still studying this and trying to figure out that you still hold to this day.
Um, Try and stop being a dick.
Advice for us all.
Yeah,
Advice
you
for
know
us
what I mean?
all.
Stop being a dick and think, and in terms of that context, like what I mean by that is I was quite guilty of being quite uh what's the word? Quite, I thought there was a point where I didn't have anything else to learn.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And it was an acting teacher that actually took me aside and said, he was like, if you think you've learned everything in this to do with this profession, then just you may as well give up.
Yeah.
The whole process of it is that you're constantly learning, you know, bigger and more profound things about yourself as a person. And then it's those experiences and those things that then allow you to do what you do, with an element of truth to it. So I think, yeah, I think I definitely spent a lot of years when I was younger being a bit of thinking I was it and being a bit of a dick, and I'm totally happy to admit that now. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned, because when you leave college and you go straight into the industry,
Yeah.
you realize it's a really tough industry.
Yeah.
Even though you think you have a level of ability at one point, especially when I was younger, um, you kind of realize, especially for film and TV stuff, that it doesn't matter anywhere near as much as it used
Right.
to. And then also a lot of it is about, a lot of it is about knowing the right people and being in the right place at the right time. And that's quite a hard thing to get to grips with as well. But
Yeah.
I think for me, what's been more positive is just accepting that
Yeah.
and try to remain optimistic through it, because like I said, with film and TV stuff, there's so many other factors that come into play about whether or not you're going to be cast in something. Like
Yeah.
I
Totally.
learned that the really hard way when I was really young. I think I was 11 years old,
Mm.
and I was up to play David Tennant's son in this four-part drama for BBC. I think it was called Single Father, and I did
Wow.
5 rounds of auditions, and I got down to the final two. So it was me and one other boy.
Yeah.
My the casting director phoned my mum the next day after my final audition and basically said like that it's going to be him. They love him, so like phone the council, get his license ready. Like
Oh
he's
wow.
it's going to be him. So my mum's told me this before I went into school, and I've bounced into school, told everybody I'm going to be in this show. Like going to play David Tennant's son. It's going to be my big break. Like, oh, that's pure nonsense. And then I got home, and my mum was like, yeah, they phoned in the afternoon and said that one guy in the BBC studios in London decided that the other boy looked more like David Tennant. So they decided to offer it to him.
And that's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're
Yeah,
sitting.
yeah, it's wild, and like but I think also at the time I was devastated and gutted, but like that's a massive lesson. Like I'll always remember going back to that. And I think
Yeah.
having that lesson so early stood me in good stead for, like you say, like auditioning for the things that I audition for now, and auditioning constantly, and 90% of the time you're getting a no because say you don't look like a certain person and they're casting a family. And a lot of directors these days, what I feel anyway, is that they'll have a very specific look for what they want for that character anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's like the chances of fitting into that one person's vision on this big project is pretty slim. So all you can do is I think as well, I think treat auditioning. That's another big lesson I've learned, is to treat the auditioning like it's the work.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Even though you don't get paid to audition, it's like I feel like it's a good mindset to be in, to treat it like you are.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
to treat it like this is a test rehearsal. Treat the initial audition as if you're screen testing. Do you know what I mean? And always kind of have that mindset of of yeah, just being there and always giving your best on it 100%. I think once you stop preparing as much as you maybe used to, that's when you start to feel a wee bit in my opinion, like a wee bit out of sorts with it, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
makes perfect
Um,
sense. Yeah.
but yeah, it's just about keeping up the optimism and keeping up your preparation and yeah, don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. You talked about it there, like, because, like, I think, when people hear actor and they think the glitz and the glamour and, like, the
Yeah.
showbiz lifestyle they've been tuned into, but there's a lot of rejection, as there is
Mm.
across every creative field,
Yeah.
But in the more positive spin on that, what's your favorite yes that you've ever had? Like, what's the job or the gig that you got where you were just like, yes, I really wanted that one. This has filled me with joy.
Oh, well, I mean, I think see that's difficult because it's either it's either probably River City. No, I tell a lie, because Schemers. Do you know what? I'll take River City and still game out of the equation because usually I
Yeah.
think for very different reasons. But
Yeah.
I would probably say Schemers.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, just because I knew that that was going to be the first time I'd ever see my name on the opening credits on a cinema screen,
Wow.
and
Okay.
to then have that. I mean, the shoot was a disaster. Like the shoot was a total disaster for me. I honestly thought it was never ever going to come out.
Yeah.
Um, it was just, I mean, I could talk about it all day, but like the shoot was a bit of a disaster, and
Mhm.
basically we ended up getting another director, and the film got saved. And so when it actually came about to this is actually happening, and it's going to
Yeah.
release. Um, I'll never forget that moment of because we premiered it at the Edinburgh Film Festival,
Yeah.
and the screening was sold out, and it was like packed cinema, and me and the two other leads were standing at the back, and I'll never ever forget seeing my name come up in the opening credits because that was
Right.
like one of those bucket list moments. I was like, this is it. Like, I've done it. Like if my career goes no further by this point,
Yeah.
I've done what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I would say that for that reason, and then if you're talking TV, then it's between River City and Still Game. River City then because I was there for such a long time, but then Still Game just because it's just iconic in this
Yeah.
country.
Well,
And
totally. And they're two institutions, but
mm,
you brought up River City, so I'd be remiss to not ask. Obviously, River City has come to an end, and it's a sad day for the show, but it's also a sad, and very worrying for a lot of people about the Scottish industry and where that goes and what sort of fills that void. Like, just what were your thoughts when you heard the news about River City?
I thought it was gutting. Like I think for everybody that is involved in the show, I mean, first and foremost for everyone who is still involved in the show,
Mhm.
that was a horrible feeling for them. Um, and for anyone who has been involved in the show, just because, like you say, I think it's not only an institution. For me,
Mhm.
I think it comes under it's like a working class institution purely for the reason that I think it's one of the only platforms in Scotland that consistently gives working class people opportunities, whether that be new writers, new
Yeah.
directors, new actors like myself. Like every 2 episodes of River Cities, or certainly that was the way when I was in it. Every 2 episodes of River City is written and directed by a totally different director.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't know that, or maybe don't notice that, but I think it's a great thing because it gives new and emerging directors a chance.
Mm.
Like I think down south it's probably a lot tougher, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think it's a lot tougher to get that first TV episode credit. I would imagine
Yeah.
for the director, even for an actor, it's the same thing. So
Yeah.
River City was always a champion of that and given new kind of opportunities, and I think that's the biggest loss
Yeah.
to come from it. It'll be interesting to see what BBC Scotland are looking to fill that kind of void with. I know they've commissioned a good few series, which also seem great and interesting, but they're also very different.
Yeah.
And they're not that sort of style of continuing drama.
Yeah, I
Um,
think you're right because it's a lot I've heard about River City is that it's this learning ground for a lot of the time. Like you
yeah.
have people who will make great careers out of it, but you also have people who come in and it's like their first taste. And like you
Mm.
talked about, like I know myself from the unscripted side, like working class people getting into TV and film and stuff like that. There's extra roadblocks there that aren't even necessarily always evident because it's not
Yeah.
only just the financial side I try
They're,
to
they're,
start
they're
out
hidden
people.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things where the cancellation of a TV show on the surface, you would be like, okay, it's one show, but it's what it meant to sort of Scotland and the
Yeah.
industry up here, isn't it?
Definitely, and I think like that was something that even I was quite naive to when I first joined the show. Obviously, knew about it all my life because it had been on pretty much all my life.
Mm.
Um, but in terms of the audience that it had, I never realised how how deeply the people who watch it and watch it week in week out, how deeply they actually care for
Yeah,
that show. And that was sort of a really kind of just a really lovely experience to then be in it and meeting fans when you're out and stuff like that, and just how passionately they talk about this thing that has, like we say, been on for such a long time. So it meant a lot to a lot of people, and it is an absolute. It's a real shame that it's not going to be there anymore. Um, I would love to say that they're going to fill it with something of a similar ilk and bring something, because I think there is still a place in TV, especially in this country, for a show like that. I
yeah,
suppose because they're on for so long and it's the same characters. A lot of the same characters are kind of still bedded in. I think there's a real community feel to a show like that. And then
totally.
obviously when you're losing that, it just feels like such a loss. But everyone at River City, they're all just exceptionally talented people and all just really wonderful, beautiful people, all trying to work in to make this that show what it is,
Yeah.
and what it will be. And I think it had a really brilliant run, and unfortunately it's we're losing it. But you've just got to hope that the same level of opportunity that River City afforded is maybe afforded in what happens next in BBC Scotland.
So let's talk about that opportunity, in the sort of smile that happened sort of way, because, like you say, great opportunity, one of your favourite yeses. Like, what's your favourite memory from your time at River City?
Oh, that's interesting. Probably we had a scene. So they used to love putting me in costumes
Okay.
because I was a cheeky chappy. So they had me dressed
Yeah,
as they had me dressed up as an elf
yeah,
Christmas, and I remember that scene. That episode was particularly fun because it was the kind of storyline of it was that Dylan, the character that I played, and in his kind of the girl he was trying to make his girlfriend Ruby, he like
yeah,
sent her on a wee scavenger hunt to
yeah,
find loads of things, and then at the end was like a big present box, and he was inside it dressed as an elf. And I just thought for like the time of year that it was going on, it fit really really well. Filming it was a lot of fun because I was kicking it but dressed like an elf and then trapped in a big box, and then there was
yeah.
a point of it I get trapped in a bin as well if I can remember rightly. So it was all just fun stuff. I think. So yeah, I'd probably say that episode. That episode was a lot of fun to do, just for the kind of the glitz and the glam of it. But they used to love having me in a costume, man. They'd be dressed as the Easter Bunny at one point, jumping about in puddles with kids. Which is it's high stakes drama, man. That's
There's
what.
worse days at work. There are worse days at work.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. I know exactly. I think that was the bit. That was a great thing about being on River City is like even on days where you'd be really stressed and you've had so much to shoot, or you're maybe doing high kind of stakes emotional storylines and stuff like that. You always had that feeling of like, you can't really take it for granted because you're in a really special place.
Talking about not taking things for granted, I had Sanjeev Kohli on a couple of weeks ago.
Yes,
You've,
Sanj.
you've talked about it's still game. We're of a similar age, and I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but when I was growing up, still game was just quoted consistently, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
almost biblical, like up
I
in
mean, it still
Scotland.
is. Yeah, it still is.
So what was that experience like?
Mad, mental. Like just the quickness of it. Because I think I got my audition at like, just talking like I think I came in at like 6 o'clock
Yeah,
the night before, and they were like, they want to see you tomorrow morning at 10, and it was for two different parts. Funnily enough, and actually my
yeah.
mate Ewan ended up getting the other one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So basically, they got me into these two parts, and it was just very quick. And then did the audition, ended up getting the one that, yeah, the part that I think I was quite lucky that ended up being the part that kind of slotted into the final episode because I think the viewership for the final episode was like
Yeah,
huge.
yeah,
Yeah,
massive.
massive, massive. So I want to watch with that one, but no, the experience of it was mental. Like I think it was a weird one. I don't usually get nervous, but I think
Mm,
because that like still game had been such a huge part of my life, part of everybody in Scotland's life, really. Growing up, there was definitely a different. It was a different feeling going on to it, and then you get taken into the makeup trailer, and I've got like Sanjeev to one side dressed as Naveed, and then Greg's there dressed as Victor, and Jane's there dressed as Isa, and I was like, this is just wild. But they couldn't have been lovelier. Like they were just so welcoming, and just yeah, it was very much get in, make sure everybody feels at home, and then let's go and bash it out. And it's just so light-hearted as well. There didn't seem to be I sort of weirdly, there doesn't seem to be like a kind of a doom and gloom over the place, even in
Yeah.
the season. Everyone was just in such lovely spirits, which I was happy with because I think if I'd have stepped on and everybody was a wee bit like, oh, this is the last one, and I did my
Oh.
yeah, exactly. But no, everybody was in such high spirits. It seemed like they'd made the right choice with what way to go and how to end it. And I thought the ending was beautiful. That was probably the worst thing about it was the fact that they sent me the full script
Right,
before I
okay.
started shooting, so I knew how it ended
Oh,
until it ended, and aye, that was a nightmare because I was in college at the time and everybody just wanted to know. But actually, very proud of myself. I held my water. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my mum and dad because I just thought it was so well written. I was like, it's such a perfect way to round it off. I was like, I want that to be a surprise. And I definitely wasn't the only one that knew and didn't say anything, but like, I thought that that's a lovely, nice, kind of wholesome surprise in the way that it ends. So, yeah, I was quite proud of myself for not telling him that one.
amazing. And we've talked about like the stuff that you've done on screen, but you've been very prolific in terms of your theatre work as well.
Yes.
Like, what would you say is the key difference between acting for screen and acting for stage?
That's so interesting. I was doing a workshop on that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but literally, so I think it's for me, it's about technicalities. I think both very technical in their own way.
Yeah.
Just like camera is just insanely more technical in a different. I don't know if I'm wording that right, but like more technical in a different way because of just the style of performance.
Mm,
Everything has to be so much more subtle on camera, simply
yeah.
because the camera picks up everything. There's also a different level of sort of shutting everything off. I know actors that do like theatre and they'll kind of almost kind of black out for like hour and a half of the show and
Yeah.
you're in it and you don't kind of the audience aren't there but they are there. They're very very similar but very different in the same way. So in the same way that like when the audience are there and you have to be aware that they're there but you don't want them to know that you're there
Yeah.
unless you're actively like
Yeah. Get
the
involved.
audience into the show,
Yeah.
then it's the exact same with a camera. Do you know what I mean? You could have a camera right here, but you can't acknowledge that camera. You can't acknowledge the sound guy that's there. You can't acknowledge the million people running about with
Yeah.
marks and shouting things and all these different things. And I think, yeah, I think it's more a naturalism type thing. And that's not me saying that naturalism can't be achieved in theatre. I just think everything has to be almost heightened naturalism, if you will, just because of the physicalities of it. Like you're performing in front of 500 to 1,000 people, however many it is.
Yeah.
Um, whereas I almost think of camera acting, you're performing to to no one really.
It's distance as well, though, isn't it? Like people can
Yeah,
watch your face right up in their iPhone if you're acting for screen right now, so they can see everything. Whereas
yeah,
in
exactly.
acting for me in the cheap seats at the back at the Tron, you still need to make sure I'm getting the
Yeah,
message. You
I
know
think
what I mean?
it's yeah, I think that's probably a fundamental thing is that I think for live theatre, it's very inherently it's performance.
Hmm.
Whereas I think if you perform for the camera will see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do genuinely believe it's something pure weird and like movie magic-y, but like I do think that the camera it clocks everything, and if it's not truthful, it'll
Hmm.
clock it. Whereas I think you get away with that a wee bit more in theatre
What
because
do
you
you prefer?
screen.
Nice. Okay. Why is that? Do you think?
I just prefer the atmosphere of being on a set
Right. Okay.
much more than I prefer the atmosphere of being in a rehearsal room for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Which I think, and again, I totally enjoy both and I love doing both, but I don't know, it's just maybe because I started the wrong way. Usually the way it kind of goes is like you leave college, you do a couple of plays maybe, and then you get your first telly job. Whereas I was doing telly jobs when I was at college. I was very,
Yeah.
very lucky to get those opportunities. And so it's probably just that. It's probably like a first love type thing, really. That was my first kind of big acting job, was never a professional play. Like I only done my first professional play 3 years ago, and that was Moorcroft.
Wow. Okay. Was that your first?
That was my first, yeah.
It's mental to me because I'm not just saying this, but you were so good in that play.
Oh,
I was
thanks, man.
very thankful I got to come and see it. But it's actually bonkers to me that that's the case. What was that like then? Like you're going on night one from
Mm.
Muircroft. Like what was going on internally?
Do you know what? I think it was an interesting one because usually I think just naturally it's quite easy to be kind of what's the word I'm looking for? To be kind of self-absorbed and not self-absorbed, but like to be
Yeah.
focused on what you're doing.
Right. Okay.
Whereas I think with Moorcroft, because it was such a personal story, and because we'd all over that course of time got to know Ailey really well. Ailey's now
Mm.
one of my best pals through that whole experience, and because the story meant so much to her, I think we were all sort of fine-tuned to not worrying about what we were doing individually
Mm.
or collectively together and bouncing off each other and all the other things that you worry about with a
Yeah.
project you do. I think we were all sort of really geared towards making this story hit
Mm.
because that's what Ailey wanted. She's very good at getting you on side. And she's an
Yeah.
outstanding writer and she's an outstanding director. And I just think she's so good at what she does. And she knows all this anyway, but she's very good at getting people on side,
Yeah.
especially to tell a story that she cares about. And I think it became clear pretty early in rehearsals that just how much she cared about that story. And by proxy, we all started to care about it. So I think it was we were all I think we were just focused on getting it right for her, to be
Yeah.
honest. And then obviously the reaction to it, we could never have anticipated. It was like, yeah, the reaction was a bit was wild. I
Yeah.
can remember one of the boys saying it because it was my first play.
Yeah.
What we've done it, standing ovation, we've walked off, and everyone was in a bit of kind of shock and disbelief at the fact we'd got the standing ovation on the first preview.
Yeah.
I think we'd been told it was the first time in the history of the Tron that's ever happened.
Wow.
And so that was a bit of a thing. And then one of the boys said to me straight away, he was like, by the way, you do a play after this, that'll never happen again. And and he was right. He was right, to be fair. He was right. That's a bit of a kind of that's like a lightning in the bottle thing, I think. But
Mm.
yeah, I think we were all just kind of more focused on making sure that we hit what we needed to hit for her because it was such a personal story. Do you know what I mean?
Amazing. And then another thing I was thinking about, see when how do you find the touring that comes with
I
theatre
hate
work?
it. Hate
Yeah.
it. Can't stand it. I think I mean, I love going to different places and performing in front of different crowds.
Yeah.
Actual traveling and all that stuff can get away. I can't stand it. I think especially in Scotland because budgets aren't massive here, and
Yeah.
a lot of the time you're sorting that stuff yourself.
Oh wow. Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So you'll be given money, you either be given money to kind of sort your digs or sort your travel, or you sort your travel and you get reimbursed by the company, or if you're really lucky, and they've got the budget, then you get a company that will just pay and sort it all out.
They'll
So
book it out, yeah.
I've kind of experienced all of it. I've experienced the having to go and do it yourself, and then vice versa, things being paid for. Obviously, it's so much
Yeah.
easier. Everything's paid and sorted for you, but just the act of traveling, I think it's like. I think you need some time to yourself as well. I think it's difficult to
Oh,
get a bit
yeah.
of time to yourself when you're like traveling with people and people who you're working with constantly, people who you're doing a performance with constantly. And that's not it's not a slight on anybody. It's just like too much time in the same company with people is gonna drag you down a bit.
I totally get it because I think people will think like, oh, you have to be sort of extroverted. You must be like a
Yeah.
people person. But like even from my own experience, I always find it extremely difficult when I'm on
Yeah.
location because I need that recharge time. Like
Yeah,
away
yeah.
from people.
So
I
yeah,
imagine it's sort of similar. Like it's
I
wild.
think I think everybody in this industry could do with a bit of like scheduled recharge time. Um,
You need
would be
to,
nice, wouldn't it?
yeah, because everyone's like, let's go out.
It, yeah,
Like, I
exactly.
don't
It's
want to
like,
do
no, I've
that.
really had enough of you for 24 hours. Please leave me alone.
Yeah, I've got
But
my
yeah,
flights in
no,
my
I mean it's
bag.
yeah, exactly. So no, it's it's necessary, of course, and it's lovely to see new places. Like I mean, the last tour that I done, James V, we took to Mull, which was a bit mad and
Mm,
quite just stunning, like just like that. So that's the good element of it.
yeah, that's fair. Well, let's talk about what you do love. Like, obviously, this now at a point in your career, you've done quite a bit. Where do
Mm.
you want to go next? Like, what's the next sort of I that you've got?
I think I think my ambitions for where I want to get to by the end of my career have never changed. Or not even by the end of my career, just when I am in the sort of prime of my career.
Yeah,
Mm. And that's never changed. And it might seem a bit kind of far-fetched to a lot of people, but like I want to work with the best. Like
yeah,
I want to be working with whoever's creating the best work in this country and then further afield from that.
Yeah.
I feel like I have the ability to mix with those people and to work with those people and
Yeah.
just to create the best possible work that I feel that I can. I think shorter term ambitions at the moment, I would love to get back in front of a camera.
Mm.
It's been quite a while. Like you said, I've been doing theatre for a wee while,
Mm.
which has been great and a totally different kettle of fish, and I've loved it. But I think I'd love to get back in front of a camera and kind of rediscover that a wee bit,
Mm.
rediscover that a wee bit, and then obviously, you know how it is. See if you can get a wee foothold, and then go on another wee run. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think this kind of past year, it's been quite quiet for me, and I think that's kind of been really important, even though it feels horrendous at the time.
Yeah.
On like a 6 year run after leaving college, and then you have a year of just nothing.
Yeah.
In a weird way, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about it because I feel like maybe I needed it. Because
Okay.
you need to learn to take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't just all be like I was very, very lucky and very grateful that that kind of run that I went on after college happened. Don't get me wrong, I know I worked hard for it, but like some of the opportunities that came my way, I was very, very lucky and very grateful to have. I was working during COVID uh,
Yeah.
on River City, so I could like literally so grateful for that because there was so many people in such a worse position. Um, but I think that kind of downtime really teaches you to. I think I mean, it can either go one or two ways. You can either go, I'm chucking this, or it
Yeah.
can reignite your fire a wee bit. And I think
Yeah.
that's what it's done for me. So at the moment, just focusing on getting the opportunities, and then when I've got them, pardon me, just absolutely grabbing them by the horns and going for it. But in terms of long term, yeah, I want to be up there with the best, man. I want to work with, your Nolans and I want to work with Shane Meadows at one point in my career would be
Nice.
stunning. Um, so yeah,
Beautiful. Nice. And Nolan, I think, just finished up. I know the Odyssey was in Inverness, so I don't know if Nolan was there, but they were shooting up that way.
yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Tom Holland's here for quite a while, I think, he's the
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Tom Holland's stuck here, it looks like, man.
Yeah.
See Tom Holland kicking about, Glasgow Green or something like that. I think he'll be right at home.
I know. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
mate, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolutely brilliant chat. It's
Oh,
been absolutely fantastic, and I'd love to get you back on, even to talk about a movie that you've stuff because, like
yeah,
I say, like you see everything, and
yeah,
I know you have your thoughts and everything. So thank you so much for coming on today. All right.
definitely. Thank you, my pleasure.
Thanks very much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed that chat with Sean, listening to it as much as I had having it. More stuff coming, hopefully more interviews down the pipe in the podcast. And thank you so much for supporting us here. Like and subscribe, share if you can, all that jazz. But just thank you very much for listening in. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time.